Okay. Hello, and welcome to this webinar series on doing business in Guyana with GuyanaBusiness.com, Guyana's premier global business community. So let me tell you a little bit about what's happening today. This is actually a webinar which is all about getting a business bank account so that you can get your account set up and do your financial transactions in country. Um, Previously in this webinar series, we've had 3 other webinars which have covered all the various aspects about doing business in Guyana. So webinar 1 was about how to start your business, which included things like ideation and research. Webinar 2 was all about planning your business trip. So that included things like the business culture and the trade connections that you needed to make. Webinar 3 was more about the actual setup of your company. So this covered things like the inception and the legal frameworks that you needed to adopt in order to be able to conduct business in Guyana. And of course, this webinar now is all about the bank account that you, business banking that you would need to set up. We're going to cover off in webinar 5, which is going to, we'll tell you a little bit more about later on, and that's going to be all about setting up business operations, covering things like technology, people, and process. So if you've missed any of the previous webinars that I've just mentioned, then you can watch them all on YouTube by just literally going to YouTube and typing in @Guyana Business, and you will be able to find a playlist which has all of those webinars for you to be able to go in and find out the information from. So let me introduce myself. My name is Robert Lee, and I'm the founder and CEO of Reyes Group, GuyanaBusiness.com, and Gateway Guyana Holdings, Inc. So Reyes and GuyanaBusiness.com are based in the UK, and Gateway Guyana Holdings is based in Guyana. With me today is Mandisa Breedy, and Mandisa is an attorney at law, and she's also our legal director, and she's had a private practice in excess of 20 years. Her postgraduate specializations include things like commercial, corporate law, international trade law, as well as intellectual property. And she's provided guidance to numerous companies on registration, compliance, licensing, and business matters. And she is our legal officer at GuyanaBusiness.com, and she's the director and principal legal officer at Gateway Guyana Holdings, Inc. We also have Fiazi Baksh, who is our digital cloud solutions architect, and she's also our Google trained senior developer for Google Workspace Solutions apps as well as software in our business. And now, who you're actually here for in terms of finance and banking expertise, please welcome Richard Isava, Managing Director of Guyana Americas Merchant Bank. And Richard's expertise lies in the guidance and financial solutions for investors. He holds a bachelor's in economics from Barry University and a master's in business administration from the University of West Indies. And he's held previous positions at Guardian Asset Management in Trinidad, and he was also the VP for life and health insurance of the Beacon Insurance Company. With me also is Dahana, and Dahana Ramgist. She's now been with GBTI, or am I saying it right? Guyana Bank for Trade and Industry for 25 years, right? That correct, Dahana?
That's right, Robert.
And she's also worked in various customer service areas of the bank. And her job now is in corporate and commercial banking as the senior manager for client relations. So let me move on to the next slide, which is all about the growth that's been happening in Guyana. So last year, 44% GDP growth in 2024. It's been the country with the highest GDP growth for the last 4 years running. And the IMF statement in March this year places the economy as well to grow by 14% over the next 5 years, for the next 5 years. Now, contrast that with what your interest rates in your business bank accounts would be. So, say, for example, in the UK, at the minute, I think one of the best interest rates that you can find is about 4.33% AER. And in the US, I think you can probably get up to about 4%. So the smart money is to do something with your cash and invest it in Guyana. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview about what's been happening in the banking landscape. So, Guyana's economic trajectory and the central bank policy directives for 24 to 25. Um, and here's a quick executive summary, is that the economy has continued to experience extraordinary growth and is predominantly driven by the oil and gas sector with about 44% GDP increase in 2024. It was actually nearly 50% in H1. Now, contrast with the strong but the more modest 13.1% growth in the non-oil economy. So despite the large petroleum revenues, some of the key macroeconomic indicators like inflation was at 2.9% in 2024. And the balance of payments in terms of the US was about 113 million surplus in 2024, and that remains stable. And the Bank of Guyana is focused predominantly on price stability and making sure that the management of the Natural Resource Fund, as well as modernizing the national payment system, is at the forefront of its key focus. Now I'll move on to slide number 9. So in terms of the future goals of the bank, they're very, very focused on making sure that they diversify the reserves and they control inflation. They want to, of course, enhance things like resilience and also strengthen the financial stability of the country. Obviously, that's going to require a lot of prudent policy making decisions and, of course, the economic diversification as well. So what we actually did was we crunched what the commercial bank loans and advances were by sector from March 22 to April 25, and we put it all into a graph here. And what we're going to be doing is adding this as a web application into our app so that you can actually see the breakdowns of exactly what's happening in terms of commercial lending in the economy right now. So the data for early 2025, as of April 2025, from the statistical abstract of the Bank of which basically explains the state of the banking system, lists all of these figures here. Now I won't go through them all, but needless to say that the banking system is very well capitalized. It's highly liquid, and they're trying to improve the asset quality, which is evidenced by declining NPLs. The substantial surplus liquidity within the commercial banks, however, suggests that while deposits are growing rapidly, and it's obviously fueled by, oil-related economic activity and inflows, the banking system may not yet have sufficiently readable bankable projects or the absorptive capacity to channel all those funds into new lending. So if you want to find out further information about this, you can click on the link, which again will supply as a PDF to you. But this is directly information which is taken from the statistical abstract of the Bank of Guyana for April 2025. So who are the licensed commercial banks? So we have them all listed here, and there are 6. And when you click on this PDF as well, in here, it will take you directly to each one of those banks' websites. So we have all of the branches and locations in terms of the counts of them, all listed on this slide. It's very important that you make the right decisions about which bank you're going to go for, depending on where you want to do business in Guyana, because obviously the banks which have got more locations have obviously got a wider coverage throughout the entire country. So you're now ready to set up your bank account to do business in Guyana. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to do in order to do so. First of all, with Republic Bank. So we're going to talk about the overseas sole owner business account. So this account is specifically designed for those of you who are operating business and you're doing it in your own name. And it is the simplest structure. So you're going to need things like valid identification. So this means something like a national ID card or valid passport. You're also going to need your proof of address. So this is both for your business address as well as your personal residential address. And a key detail of this is that the proof must be issued within the last 6 to 8 months. So and then also you'll need things like a recent utility bill or potentially a bank statement. You're also going to need proof of income. So you're going to need to provide an income statement covering the past year. Uh, Included with that, you'll also need things like business registration certificate. So this is the official registration for you to operate as a sole trader. And you're also going to need your TIN as well, which is your tax identification number for you as the owner of this business. So a top tip from us as part of our services, we help to ensure that your business registration and your TIN certificate are in order and meets the banking requirements. Um, with Republic Bank, in terms of the bank account setup requirements for an overseas company setting up a business bank account, this is the information that you need. So this type of account is for legally incorporated entities, such as limited liability companies. And as you might expect, the process here is a lot more detailed due to the legal structure of the company. So when you open up a business bank account for an overseas company with Republic Bank, there's lots and lots of, or there is a comprehensive set of documents that they are going to require. So we're now going to break them down for you. So step one, you're going to need the official request letter. So Republic Bank requires a formal letter signed by your company secretary. And of course, GuyanaBusiness.com, we can provide things like templates, and we can ensure that this letter clearly includes all of the necessary details. So it needs to have things like the type of account that you need, whether it's a current account, US dollar account. You also need to have clear details on the signing authority of the account. Who are the people that can actually handle transactions? Um, it will require things like full names and designations of the authorized signatories. And you're also going to need a clear description of your company's intended line of doing business in Guyana. So step two is all about the financial documentation. So Republic Bank will need your management accounts for the last 3 years for the parent or overseas company. Now, obviously, for new entities or subsidiaries being established in Guyana, they're going to require things like an opening balance sheet, as well as things like cash flow projections for your planned Guyanese operation for at least 1 year. So a top tip is that we can advise you and guide you on the format and the detailed requirements for these financial submissions to meet the bank's expectations. So the next one is all of the necessary references that you're going to need. So you're going to need a banker's reference, and this is applying to foreign nationals. So Republic Bank requires an original banker's reference from your overseas bank where your company or its principals maintain the primary accounts, and confirming the relationship as well as the duration of when those accounts were set up. You're also going to need two character references for all of your directors. Now, of course, um, this must be as well from reputable individuals, and it must be done in a very, very specific way, addressed to the manager at the bank. Each reference must also describe the director's character and recommend them for banking business. Sorry, for business banking. Of course, we can advise on the types of suitable referees and ensure that your references meet the bank's criteria as well. Step four is the proof of address. Now, these documents must be issued within the last 8 months. Republic Bank requires this for all authorized signatories, all directors, company secretary, and the company itself with the registered address in the home country and any proposed Guyanese address. And of course, all the shareholders with holdings that are over 10%. So here's a top tip from us. We'll help you clearly identify the acceptable documents and, of course, if they originate from overseas, advise on any potential certification needs. So you're going to need valid passports for all non-Guyanese individuals involved, and that's required by the bank. So this applies to all authorized signatories, the company secretary, all directors, and again, any shareholders with 10% or more shares. So a top tip from us is that because originals often cannot be presented in person by someone from overseas, Republic Bank mandates that the copies of these identification documents, so for example, the bio data page of the passport, must be notarized. And of course, Mandisa and myself and our team can prescribe exactly how you're going to do this. Step 6 is all about the tax and the registration documentation. So this is a list of all of the documents that you're going to need. You're going to need your certificate of incorporation. Could we bring Mandy in for this as well because she knows a lot more about the detailed information of this?
Yes. So once you are going to be setting up an account for your company, the bank needs to know that you're properly registered according to our local laws, and you would have to produce those documents. All the documents that are listed there are documents that we can help you put together to ensure that when you make your submission to the bank, everything is in order and that there are no delays in you moving forward. The documents that are listed there are documents that are usually prepared by us as a part of your registration process so that there would be guidance going from the beginning of the process all the way to the end. And of course, as we've said to you from the beginning of this, our aim is to ensure that your transition into Guyana is as seamless as possible.
Exactly. And of course, there's almost two sets of processes taking place concurrently, almost at the
Yes,
same time. You've
yes,
got the
yes,
company registration as well as trying to access and get things set up for your business banking.
that's correct.
So we do have a top tip in here, and that is if the shareholders are other companies, and sometimes this is the case, Republic Bank is going to need the documents to identify the ultimate beneficial owners. So you're going to require notarization if they are copies from an overseas registry. Okay, let me move on to the next slide. So this comes to the notarization of overseas documents. And this is a very, very critical step. And this is where our expertise really comes into play. Republic Bank requires that any documents which are copies of originals outside of Guyana, especially IDs, things like foreign company registration certificates, and potentially the request letter, if it's signed overseas, has to be properly notarized. The notarization must be done by a notary public officer in the country of origin. So you need to get the official stamp, seal, and signature, and that must be clearly affixed. Now, alternatively, you can potentially go to a Guyana consulate if that exists, or an embassy, and they might offer a similar sort of service as well. Top tip from us is that as part of our process, we review your documents to make sure that the notarizations will meet Republic Bank's standards. And of course, as Mandisa mentioned just now, preventing potential delays. So with that, I'm now going to pass you over to Dahana, who is going to tell you a lot more about GBTI's bank account setup requirements. Over to you, Dahana.
Thank you, Robert. It's great being on the webinar once again, and I'm pleased to be sharing the requirements for setting up an account for a sole trader or a partnership or a company. So, for the sole trader and partnership accounts, these are pretty simple. Once you have registered the business, you present the business registration along with your valid identification, your passport, and your proof of address. Now, if the individual's proof of address and their address and the business address is the same, then we do not need a proof of address for the business. However, if they're different, we would need a proof of address for the business. And to note, proof of addresses must be within the last 6 to 8 months. And documents that we accept include utility bills, bank statements, driver's license. For new businesses, we also require proof of income, which is your 1 year cash flow statement, or if it's an existing business, a previous year financial statement. Certain businesses may require operating license or permits, and it depends on what type of business you're engaged in. I've listed two examples there: service station, gold mining, and I guess the team from Mandisa's side would guide you wherever a license is required. And for these businesses, you also require TIN or VAT certificate, and VAT is applicable for businesses with over 15 million Guyana dollars in yearly revenue. So we're looking at company accounts now. Again, Mandy's and her team will assist with setting up, having the company registered. And a pro tip from GBTI: if you're visiting to have your business set up, you can visit the bank at the same time so that we've met you. And should we need additional documents, you can always have those authenticated and sent to us. So we start with our request letter and a resolution. So your letter of request to GBTI should be signed by your secretary or director for the company. Indicate what type of account you're requesting. And we need to have a background of what a business is. So you tell us what sort of operations you have, if you have subsidiaries overseas. Also, you need to include the names of your signatories and what will be the signing instructions. And if you have any local agents, those are persons who are authorized to conduct business on behalf of the company. So, meaning they can come into the bank, do deposits, uplift documents, etc. We also need a board resolution, which would state the names of your signatories and your signing instructions. This here must bear your company stamp. In terms of our financial statements requirements, for new companies, we would need a 1 year cash flow projection, and this must include a monthly breakdown of income and expenses. Or if you have your company set up before, we would need your previous year's audited financial statements. Now, another pro tip: if you're requesting a US dollar account, you have to present to us any contracts that you have from which you'll be getting US funds. The reason for this is all US dollar accounts for companies have to be approved by the central bank. And the contracts, we send that supporting your request for a US dollar account. We will look at what are our know your customer documentations, and these are straightforward. We need a proof of address for the local registered office of the company. And let's say this address is your lawyer's office, then we can get a letter from your lawyer stating that the company is authorized to use that address. And of course, a proof of address for the lawyer's office. We need a TIN certificate for the company, as well as passport, proof of address, and TIN certificate for your signatories, directors, secretary, and beneficial owners of the company. Beneficial owners refer to persons owning 25% and more of the company. Just a note, for TIN certificates, these are only required for persons if you are paying tax in Guyana. We also require one character reference for each director and beneficial owner. And for persons who are overseas, we accept a banker's reference, which must be addressed to the manager of GBTI. If you have a local director, a reference issued by reputable individuals is also accepted. Again, license or permits that are applicable to your type of business would need to be presented. So company documents. This is Mandisa's side as well. Your local incorporation documents, including your certificate and articles of incorporation, notices of secretary and directors, and the consents to act, as well as your notice of registered office. So we're talking about authentication. Let's say two of your company reps were in the country, setting up the company, getting it registered, and now you're visiting the bank. But maybe a director or signatory is not in Guyana. We will need to have their documents authenticated by the bankers of the company or the Guyana consulate. If someone from a bank is authenticating the documents, then we would need to have um, a business card or contact details for that individual. So now that we've covered the requirements, I just wanted to share a list of products and services that we have available for companies and businesses at all of our branch locations. So we have checking accounts denominated in Guyana dollars and US. We also have euro and sterling denominated accounts. Um, we have wire transfer services, incoming and outgoing, and these are in US, Canadian, as well as sterling. We have cambio services where we sell and buy foreign currency. For those companies with a presence in Guyana where you would need to have cash deposited overnight, we have night depository services as well as safe deposit boxes available at our branches. Checkbooks are also available if you need to write checks to someone. For our online services, you can do payroll processing, do local bank to bank transfers, as well as transfers to accounts held at GBTI. Utility bills could be paid as well as insurance payments locally. You can initiate wire transfers overseas, and you also have access to view your monthly statements and balances. For those companies that may require a card for company use to your executives, we also offer our MasterCard Executive Business Card. And two other products that we offer on the lending side, one is the GBTI Invoice Financing. That's a product that we launched earlier this year, and GBTI is the only bank that offers this currently. And it's a product exclusively for companies within the oil and gas industry. With invoice financing, once you have a contract with one of the prime contractors or the tier one contractors in Guyana, we can offer you up to 80% financing on an invoice that you have whilst you complete your work with the tier one company, and then you get your payment and you repay the bank. And we also offer commercial loans for businesses. If you're purchasing property equipment or anything that the company needs, along with overdraft facilities, we're here to offer you those as well. So, guys, that's it for my presentation. Thank you so much. And Mr. Isava from the Guyana Americas Merchant Bank will now present his part.
Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for inviting us to participate in this well-needed webinar that will guide investors from all over the world to come and do business in Guyana. Thank you. All right. So essentially, the Guyana Americas Merchant Bank is a subsidiary of the Guyana Bank for Trade and Industry. And we operate in two main business segments. One being asset management, where we manage funds for pension plans. We manage the GBTI family of mutual funds and private wealth asset management. Our second silo is investment banking, where we fund projects, we arrange uh, financing for corporate entities, for government, and other large corporate clients. Essentially, that process is similar to where you go to a bank for a loan, but in a syndicate loan, there's more than one lender to the project, and we offer these services not only here in Guyana but to clients throughout the CARICOM region. Could you change the slide? Just to give you a brief idea, one of our main retail products that we offer through GBTI, our parent bank, the family of GBTI mutual funds, which essentially allows and gives Guyanese investors and international investors access to the Guyanese local stock market. Uh, so it allows you to participate in our local exchange and benefit from the rapid growth of the Guyanese economy. In the past 20 years, there's been significant returns on the Guyana Stock Exchange. And just imagine what's going to happen going forward in an economy that now is driven by a daily oil production of 650,000 barrels per day. So I guess, as the saying goes, the future looks very bright for Guyana in terms of long-term economic prosperity and great business opportunities, both for private investments and investments on the Guyanese local stock exchange. It is relatively easy to set up a mutual fund account. We require one form of ID. If for example you're a holder of a Guyanese driver's license, then that one document can cover your proof of address and your TIN certificate. For international investors, more or less the same requirements. Um, your passport is preferred, and then a utility bill, a payslip or job letter, and initial deposit of 25,000 Guyanese dollars, which is just around about maybe 125 US. The, the range of products in the mutual fund offering includes an income and growth fund, a growth and income fund, an oil and gas fund, which participates in many of the oil and gas companies that operate here in Guyana, a commodities fund, and especially within the gold extraction industry in Guyana, where we have quite a number of Canadian based gold companies. So, in a nutshell, it gives investors access to investments that they probably would not be able to get without being actually physically present in Guyana. So, it's actually a good way to get involved in the rapid growth that has come to Guyana already. You can contact us at our numbers there, and we have three registered investment advisors on call to guide investors of what we offer and to do proper analysis of their portfolios. Thank you. I think that's covers my any particular. Are we going to have the questions at the end? If any.
I think what we'll do, Richard, is that because all of the questions would be coming through from like comments and so on, I'll take them and then circulate them to you after the webinar is finished, and we
No
can
problem.
respond
That's
back to
fine.
those folks
We can.
individually as well.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh,
Perfect.
let's have a quick look. Sorry, I've just been reliably informed by someone, and it's just appearing on your screen right now, Richard. So you might be able to see it. Is it possible to complete all the bank setup remotely, or will I need to travel to Guyana to open up a bank account? Well, the truth is that if you want to do a good business in Guyana, the best thing to do is to actually come into the country and see what obviously kind of business it is that you're going to be um, investing or putting in place. But you can do it remotely. However, you would
Correct.
need a lot of support, obviously with us, for example, from GuyanaBusiness.com, in order to be able to get a lot of the legal documentation, and specifically, you can see that there's various nuances between all of the banks as well. So yes, it is possible to do it completely remotely, but it's completely advisable for me to tell you that if you really want to do good business there, go to the country. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause
Um,
on the legal side, you're going to have to get any document that you send to any bank or the merchant bank notarized in your country. So it is to, to support what you said, it is possible, but it is very tedious for
yes,
sure.
and we know this very, very well.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Richard. And like I said, we're going to compile any more questions or anything that comes through, especially on the comments, which are likely to happen over the next few days, and pass them on to you guys so that you can pick them up.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, Richard. So the next steps, and this comes back to the point that Richard just raised, was that this kind of stuff needs to be thoroughly checked. So we are offering a pre-flight banking documentation check. It's got nothing to do with flying, by the way. It is just making sure that you've got all of your documents correctly looked at in terms of compiling all of the necessary documentation. We make sure that your notarization is proper, and you would leverage our experience with this. We liaise with all of the banks, and of course, we submit a complete package, which is then going to be able to get you um, through the submission process for each bank's specific requirements. And we do this through a combination of registered mail, courier, and so on. So if you click on that QR code, that will take you directly to our product page, and you can find out a little bit more information about that. Or if you want to find out just general information anyway, if you head down to the bottom of our website, we have an email address if you have any further questions that you'd wish to ask. So a general reminder about this, and this is from us at GuyanaBusiness.com, is that all of the banks, of course, have websites, and they're a great resource. However, our value add is the personalized service that we apply to make sure that those rules, and sometimes they use unusual language as well, we know exactly what those mean, and we will apply it to your unique situation. And of course, all of these requirements are very, very detailed. Our role is to make it simple for you. So don't hesitate to use this as a primary contact if you need, just to clarify anything that you may have. Obviously, opening a bank account from overseas involves very, very careful preparation. And by doing it with us as a partner, you're not alone. We're committed to making this and every step of your Guyanese market entry a success. So I'll put you on to now. All the various things that we can support you with. And actually, this is all the various things that other folks can support you with. So there are plenty of areas that you can look at in terms of getting further information about doing business in the country. So the chambers of commerce, brilliant. There's many of them, and they're all kind of linked usually to either the EU, there's the Canadian one, there's a New Mexican one, and so on. And of course, there's the American chambers and Bridgeham as well. They're great for business networks and they're great for connections. Now, also the Guyana Office for Investment is again a brilliant source of information. They have got good sources of things like market intelligence. And on top of that, you can also apply for things like concessions as well. So if you're bringing in, a lot of heavy machinery and you need to make sure that or you'd like to have a portion of that for whatever concession that you'd like, you can apply for it using their services. We've listed all of the commercial banks, and if you go back to the beginning of the presentation, you will see a list of all of them. They're there to help you with deposits, lend money, and also to move money around. The government ministries are responsible for executing functions of the state, and the government authorities administer the laws of the state. So there's key difference there. Of course, there's plenty of embassies as well as high commissions, and they're there to give you support by maintaining and developing the relationships between other countries and Guyana. And coming back to some of the services that we're offering, the legal services specifically are really, really key. And Mandisa, is Mandisa still there on the chat? Brilliant. Um, Mandisa can tell you a little bit more about um, some of the things that we can help you with in terms of like your preliminary business setup consultation.
Yes, definitely. So, as I would have mentioned in our previous webinar, we can offer assistance in setting up your business, whether you want to set up as a sole trader, whether you want to set up as a new company in Guyana, or whether you want to register your existing company as an external company in Guyana. Now, these are key decisions that you have to make. We can discuss with you, understand what your needs are, what the business is that you are hoping to get into, and give you some pointers on what might be the best route for you. Alternatively, if you are basically just trying to come exploratorily and you want to just start small, we can also assist you with that. One way or the other, there's paperwork that has to be done, there are legalities that have to be followed, and we're here to help you through those. We want to make your journey into Guyana as seamless and as simple as possible. There are challenges. We're not going to dispute that. There are things that need to be addressed in a particular way, and we know how to do that. So book that call, let us know what you need help with, and we're more than happy to help.
Thank you very much, Mandisa. Very well said. Um, if you're looking for information to get into the country, and it's if you're looking for things like bids and so on, Fiaizi is on the line, and she can tell you a lot more about the Guyanese Business Community app, which does have a lot of information in it. So, Fiaizi, you there?
Yes, thank you. Hi everyone, I am Fiazi, the technical lead at GuyanaBusiness.com. So one of our products at GuyanaBusiness.com is our Guyana Business Community app. And it is the platform that brings everything together for you to access the business market in Guyana. Now, our app is designed to help you find opportunities, connect with others, and grow your business. One of our most used features is the bids and contracts section, and this is updated weekly with contracts from government and private sector. So you'll find contracts across key industries such as construction, oil and gas, safety, security, business consultancy, even ICT and tech. Now, there's a few screenshots there. You can see what the app looks like once you're inside of the app. It's easy to use, mobile friendly, and full of useful data. So, whether you're a contractor, a consultant, or a supplier, there's a bid or a contract that's there for you. Now, to get access, just scan the QR code on the left, and you'll get full access details via your email. Next slide, please. So the app offers a lot more than just bids. It's a full business platform. So you can also view a company's directory where you can search and connect with registered businesses, including local content suppliers. Now, local content suppliers are super helpful if you're trying to meet compliance to work on oil and gas projects. We also have property listings from Guyana Estate. So, whether it's your next office, commercial space, or just a short term rental for your next business trip, it's all there via Guyana Estate. And as you can see from these screenshots, just a glimpse of those features. Next slide, please. Another one of our key feature is our notice board, where you'll find community announcements, business news, and updates. And you can also access discounts or promotional offers. And I think you'll be hearing about one of these discounts right after this. And we also have a new feature being released soon, which is our live newsfeed. So you'll be able to stay up to date with Guyana's latest business development from reliable sources all in one place. Next slide, please. So why should you be using this app? Well, firstly, it's built for the Guyana market, meaning it's tailored for your local needs and for doing business in Guyana. So you can get early access to bids, contracts, and all the opportunities. It can help you with business visibility, so you're able to promote your services and even connect and network with others. And you can stay informed on business news and key industry trends on what's happening in Guyana. And best of all, the content is completely free. Now, we've built this app to help you and to help your business. So take a moment and just scan that QR code and get your access today. And of course, behind every app, there is an app support team just ready to help you. So if you have any questions or you need any help, just reach out to us at appsupport@GuyanaBusiness.com and we'll be there to help you. And that's all from me. And I'll see you in the app.
Thanks a lot, Fiazi. Really appreciate that. Before I go into our next slide, which will tell you a little bit more about a great discount that we have on offer from the Marriott, I'm just going to introduce you to one of our business development managers here at GuyanaBusiness.com, Royston Howell. And Royston can tell you a little bit more about some of the services that he provides as well as even providing information about foreign exchange rates as well.
Hi everyone, and thanks Rob for the introduction. So yes, my name is Royston Howe, and as well as working with Guyana Business, I'm also able to offer support and guidance in foreign currency exchange. So for businesses who are looking to invest in Guyana and therefore need to make financial transactions from one currency to the other, so say for instance pound sterling into US dollars, we can help with achieving superior rates of exchange than may be accessible through high street bank. So this will enable our clients, yourselves, to save money on your transactions and not lose as much money as you would normally do when completing a transaction with the bank. But also we can help give a bit of guidance into currency fluctuations and let you keep you up to date with the rate moves, because the currency market is one of the most volatile stock markets in the world. So it's important that you can have someone like myself who can give you some guidance. But yeah, if anyone wants to have a chat in regards to currency fluctuations and moving their money from one currency to the other, feel free to reach out and I can give you some information and guidance how I can help you save more money on that.
Thank you very much, Royston. Really appreciate that. And again, also do reach out to him as well on GuyanaBusiness.com if you contact us. And Royston can also help you with any of the products and services that we provide as well as part of our product or offering. Okay, I'll just have a quick look. Are the prices listed? So I've just been told that we've got another question, which is that are the prices listed on the website in US or Guyanese dollars? They're US. So yeah, if you yeah, they're basically in US dollars. So I think that question's answered. Next one is the Marriott. We've got a great relationship with them, and they are offering a corporate discount of 15%. And this is available to all new GuyanaBusiness.com community app members. So if you go check out the notice board, so you obviously have to sign up to access it in the Guyana Business Community app. That 15%, trust me, is really, really great. And, you know, I use the Marriott very, very regularly whenever I head back home. And it's one of the best and one of the most long established hotels there. So if you do want to benefit from that discount, please click on the scan the QR code and gain access to your 15%. The other thing, and Fiazi mentioned it a little bit earlier on, is that we also set up GuyanaEstate.com, and this is part of our business portfolio, which just kind of came on very, very quickly in February at the beginning of this year. Now, what GuyanaEstate.com is, it's there basically to provide you the opportunity to list your properties for sale. In Guyana. So if you're looking around specifically to find either land or a commercial warehouse, or it might be a place to stay long term, then check it out. Scan that QR code, and that will take you directly to GuyanaEstate.com, and you can find maybe the next place that you want to buy, or you want to stay at, or you want to lease. So that's it. We're just going to wrap the webinar up and say that the next one, which is all about setting up your business operations in Ghana, is going to take place on Thursday, the 3rd of July, 2025. And it's going to cover off things like tech, operations and processes and people. So do check that one out. And if you haven't signed up and registered for it, please do so. Hit our website and then just fill up your information on the registration form, and we'll send you the calendar invite to access it on that day. So that's it from me. Thank you so much. Um, I'd like to say a huge thank you as well to the back office team who make this stuff happen. Of course, there's lots and lots of moving parts, so a big shout out to the team at Reyes Group as well as in GuyanaBusiness.com for making this all happen. And if you like this content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.